everyone, welcome to another video review. This is the MPG Style Gen MPG-17 Optimus Prime. You can see him there in front of the box. We'll go ahead and put him outside real quick and take a look at that box. Yeah, it is a very different kind of box than usual because, yeah, it's a kind of a new subline for MPG. So, yeah, get this whole thing where, yeah, it says, you know, transforms Optimus Prime, although it's kind of obscured a bit with Style Gen right there, the new subline, which is kind of more or less let's take kind of more or less the generation sensibilities and kind of give them a bigger budget and MP and masterpiece scaling. So yeah, you got Takara Tomy there. They got the T-Spark thing down there. You have MPG Style Gen, MPG, and it's all Optimus Prime. Oh, that's what it says. Autoboto. Up here on top, you have MPG-7, MPG Style Gen, all that stuff right there, and the white Takara Tomy. On this side, you have there's some red in the truck mode right there. On this side, you have kind of a picture of the figure in robot mode. You have here some copyrights and warning stuff down here, and some contact details and all sorts of stuff. And also what the thing's made of, and also, only for ages 15 and up because it's not for children. And on the back here, you have some product shots and whatnot, and what's included in the box, and some little bits here and there, and some, I guess, a little bio right there, which is, I can't really read too well. Yeah, there you go. Included in the box, you have, of course, the instructions, which are pretty decent overall. I mean, he's not a particularly complicated figure, to say the least. And the biggest thing actually here, these are mostly helpful for how to actually configure all the weapons and stuff for storage. This is probably the single most useful thing these instructions are for, so is that. And then, of course, there is the bio card, which, it has a picture of the figure right there on one side. On the back, you have, hey, look, a picture of the figure, but in truck mode, which is interesting that no tech specs on here. So there's that. So, Optimus Prime, like I said, yeah, brand new subline. It's more of a kind of a generations but in masterpiece type of thing, which has some people a little irate, considering like we're getting another. Basically, when this was first rumor, there's like we're getting another Optimus. Are you kidding? But yeah, this is a very different take on a masterpiece Optimus, and you can see, yeah, it's still like a red and blue truck, as you can see, but yeah, you got, the red finish, you got the silver stripe going down, you got the kind of an interesting, like, very stylized windows, very in black, you got the mirrors and stuff, you got the, chromed grille and bumper right there, some little headlights picked out with some translucent plastic, you got the black windshield right there, you got the wipers picked out, you got the roof lights picked out there, you got, again, the silver wheels going all the way down, you got the gas tanks, but they're squared off, and yeah, you have pretty clearly the feet. On the back, you have a trailer hitch. You have the cool thing, which is the, hey, look, there's this venting detail back here, like on some trucks. You do have some tail lights picked out with yellow and red and everything, and bottom's actually pretty clean, all things considered. Yeah, that's the thing is, yeah, he's clearly got a truck bed. Of course, it's smokestacks and chrome as well, but he's really got a very long truck bed, which is very clearly, Optimus legs, which. It's kind of how it is, but, at least it's somewhat thinned out in such a way that it's not this massive bulk of a thing, but yeah. Generally, I think it's a pretty decent looking truck cab, but yeah, it really did. It kind of regressed in the sense that, like, yeah, this is pretty clearly just Optimus's feet back here, but yeah. He rolls really well. Is the thing, he rolls really well. These are plastic tires right here, but they are pinned in and they roll really well. Because the thing about this is the whole generation like styling thing, it's part of this. Apparently, one of the things about this subline is they want to make it much easier to transform. Apparently, there's been complaints, which is masterpieces are getting really difficult to transform. So to keep the cost down and also keep the transformation simple, that's kind of the idea here with the Style Gen. One of the ideas with the Style Gen is just to make it simpler for people, and this definitely does that. It is a much simpler transformation. It's a much simpler figure than, say, MP44, for example. Yeah, I think it's a pretty decent truck mode, but some people really don't like this. Some people don't like how long this is. Some people really don't like how the feet stick out. But, considering it's supposed to be just more or less kind of, in a sense, a big Generations figure, I'm kind of okay with it. And it's not your only option when it comes to Masterpiece Optimuses. There's a bajillion. Go pick one. Yeah. In this mode, the accessories can actually do some stuff. So yeah, we're going to walk through the accessories real quick. First of all, there is his rifle, which you can see right there. There's also, hey, look, that's a 5mm peg, because yeah, he does use his peg instead of the tab and slot thing. So his rifle, this bit can spin right here for a good reason. You have his axe, or an axe, shall we say. The the G1 acts of the orange translucent plastic looks pretty darn good. Got a lot of bits of tech detailing and within the translucent bit. There, you do have this axe / shield, which it's based on the Siege version of the Siege accessory with the little oddball symbol done in black right there. You do have twin blades with the silver and translucent orange right there, very inspired by the Bayverse Optimus right there. You got 2 of those. And you do have a matrix, which, it is very similar to previous matrix. The silver and copper gold / and the jewel in the middle. It's the same thing on both sides. No real differences there. And then you have these little clear pieces, which basically attach to a lot of the weapons to. And this is the flight stand, which isn't really going to become super relevant until robot mode, but it is kind of relevant here just because of storage stuff. So these all can store on the vehicle mode in a way, but to do so, first of all, the matrix right here, open up this bit right here. You can open the center bit, and hey, look, there's the matrix chamber, and you just plug the matrix in, and there it is. It's stored, and close it up right there. So there's that. Now, as for the weapon stuff, what you want to do here is gonna make sure this line up right. Yeah, there we go. Right here, the axe you plug in like so. Like that. You plug it in right there, making sure it's sitting like that. With the gun, they tell you you're supposed to do this, rotate it right here 90 degrees, and then plug it in right here. You don't have to rotate it, but I don't know, I guess it makes things easier. So you got that. And you take this piece right here, you take the flight stand piece, and this right here, this little tab right here, this bit right here that plugs right over like that. Like so. With that, you can take this peg right here and plug it in right here. Make sure to plug it on the right side, because otherwise it's going to be a little annoying. Because then with these, take the blades here. I'm going to go ahead and you want to plug these together. I'm trying to remember which side it is. It's this way. And plug these together. You can see there's the pegs, and there's peg holes, and there's little even cutouts for the other pegs. And you want to peg these together, I believe. No, it's like this. That's right. Yeah, peg it together like this, making sure you want to make sure the nice finish, without the peg holes and stuff, is they're facing each other. So peg together like this, and then you take the shield here, and there's a peg here which pegs into this hole right here, and then you go ahead and just peg it on the back right here like this. And with that, you have all the accessories plugged in, it's kind of neat. Kind of wish this thing wasn't this weird looking complicated thing, but hey, it works, and it still rolls and everything. But yeah, they all store on the back like that. Yeah, of course, there's an alternate thing you can do as well if you'd like, because you can see this trailer hitch. It is compatible with the MP44 trailer, which folding these bits away. Yeah, just line that up and slot it in. So yeah, just line that up and slot that in. And now you can hold the trailer, and yeah, you can still twist and everything like that. So there's that. It still rolls, although you have the mismatch of the wheels are different sizes and everything, but it's still compatible. The other thing is, right, with this stuff, you can actually store them in the MP44 trailer. So with this, what you want to need to do is you're going to have to take the axe here and reverse it so it's sitting like this. Take the gun and rotate this bit right there, and then take the axe, this axe off, and unplug it from those bits, and then from here, see from here, yeah, what you want to do here is plug these in. There's this peg hole right there. You plug these in right there like that, and then after that, then you plug this back in right here like that, and that's all one unit. And yeah, you can plug into the truck itself like this if you want, as one giant thing, but also this just let you plug it in the trailer here. So yeah, opening this up like that, you're gonna have to, unfortunately, you have to remove roller, and if you have this stored away, you're gonna have to remove this. Yeah, you have to remove these, and then right here, you see this square tab thing right here. That will go into this forward slot. You can see that forward slot right there. Just plugs in there. That. Most certainly unplug that, but yeah. And I accidentally move that around, but yeah. That. It's now stored. You can see it stores in there, and yeah, you can still close up the trailer, and as he's supposed to be able to. It will store it in the trailer, and that closes up, and yeah, it still works, and it's all closed up in there, and yeah. And it's all closed up in there. Yeah, you can just store it all in the trailer like that. So there is that. But yeah, you do have to remove this. And you also have to, of course, MP44, which is one of those weird things like, why would you buy MP44 in this? I don't know. I did. So yeah, that's the trailer stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much most of the vehicle mode as it stands. So measurements in this mode. In general, his measurements in this mode, his length is 8.5 inches or 20.6 centimeters, and his weight is 13.1 ounces or 372 grams. Yeah, not exactly the heaviest thing, but yeah, he's also not exactly super light either. So, as for some quick comparisons, I am going to compare him to, well, the previous Optimus molds, although these will be the Nemesis versions, and this is for reasons. This is basically make things faster. You will see the other Optimuses eventually, but not now. So here's MP10B in vehicle mode. You can see there's that. You can see, yeah, they're pretty similar in size, at least the cab, but you can also see, you can see MPG-17 is longer and also a shorter thing. By the way, this MPG-17 not compatible with the MP10 trailer. You can kind of rest it on top there, but it doesn't work very well. And I've seen already people, there have already been some adapters made, so you have that because there's plenty of knockoff MP10 trailers. So, and not exactly any knockoff, any easy way to get really easy way to get the MP44 trailer. So there is that. But yeah, as it stands, he is officially not compatible with the MP10 trailer. You have to get an adapter for that. Also, here he is with MP49 or yeah, MP49. So. The Nemesis Prime version, but yeah, again, similar size, kind of at least similar height for the truck bed as a total, but yeah, still you can see MPG-17 is a bit longer in the bed, but yeah. So there is that. So that is MPG-17's vehicle mode. Overall, I think it's pretty nice. People do have problems with the truck bed just because you can see the feet are just chilling out right there. They don't really hide anything. The truck bed's also long. Also, you can really easily see the thighs right there on the side. Those are pretty obviously the thighs. And some people really don't like this the stylization on the truck windows. But I think he's overall all right. But your opinion may differ. So I'm going to get him transformed into robot mode, and we'll continue this review. So yeah, the transformation. I talked about a little bit in the transformation video, but yeah, the transformation is actually very straightforward. In fact, it kind of like feels like almost like a second attempt at MP10's transformation. It's like a somewhat cleaned up, it's basically an MP10 transformation with some cleanup for like proportions and like whatnot, and basically I guess adjusting the truck bed a little bit. But yeah, it has a lot of in common with the MP10 transformation, I feel. But that's the thing is. Kind of weird is that this guy, he kind of borrows heavily from different elements of different Optimuses, and that's kind of his whole thing. Getting in close, yeah, you can see, for example, one of the things is like he's got some really tall antenna ear things, which somewhat inspired by Studio Ox. So he's also got some light piping. I'm not sure how well it's coming off, but and yeah, you can see it's got light piping, which is pretty nice blue right there. He's got this thing, the shoulder bits right here, these kind of coming up and tabbing in, that's kind of inspired by the MPM-12 Bumblebee movie Optimus. Yeah, his again, his core transformation is kind of inspired by MP10. Yeah, you can say, so I think get the Autobot symbol on one side, you know, got the yellow arrows on his wrists. You got, of course, the blue. He's got silver, the silver stripe right there. You got the chrome grill. He's got the kind of the silver down here with the yellow, translucent yellow bits, and the blue right there. Little shin vents and everything with the knee pads, and of course his tail light toes and all that stuff, the wheels on the side and everything, the little miniature gas tanks, and pretty cleaned up backpack, which, yeah, again, this is this is one of the things that really reminds me of MP10. But also he's got these bits on the shoulder which, yeah, stick out, but, you know, it's kind of some people complain about that, but that's kind of, if anything, a reference to I feel like it's a reference to the original MG1 toy with his big old shoulder flap things. So yeah, I think overall, that's the thing about him, is he's actually a pretty cool, again, amalgamation of many Optimus Primes. And as you saw before, you know, you like the Siege, you know, the accessories, you got the Siege axe and everything, you know, Siege Optimus axe, you have the Bayverse arm blades, you know, got the the G1 Energon axe and so on and so forth. It's just all these, and hell, even the way the shins transform, like the shin pieces transforming, and the way those transform is very similar to the Studio Series Bumblebee movie Optimus, and possibly even the Revenge and the Rise of the Beast Optimus as well, the way those transform. So yeah, lots of little details are just like, this is inspired by this Optimus. That's kind of this thing. It's almost like a greatest hits version of Optimus, and wrapped up in a somewhat more affordable MP package. So articulation in this mode, he's got, you know, head can go left and right, up and down, and waggle a lot. So you got all that stuff. If you want, you could adjust how the antennas sit. You can put them back a bit. If you want the more swept back look, that's a thing you can do. You can just adjust how they sit, but there is kind of a natural like resting point right here in the middle, which is nice. Oh yeah, one other thing I forgot was that the transformation right here is this is probably the scariest part, is getting the matrix chamber into there. You can kind of almost feel the plastic here just kind of bending a little bit to get so the matrix chamber goes in. I haven't seen any stress marks or anything, but I don't know, maybe in the future, but as it stands, there's nothing, it doesn't seem to be an issue. Shoulders right here, you do have forward rotation, nice and clicky too. You got outward on a nice click right there, and of course you do have the butterfly joints, both forward and back, depending because of those inner hinges right there. You do have a bicep swivel right here. There's also a swivel right here, right below, right above the elbow if you want. The elbow bend themselves can go, you know, full curl, no, not full curl, but pretty darn nice curl right there. You do of course have wrist swivels right here, and the fingers right here are that's the other thing, these fingers are very much like the Studio Series 86 Optimus. You got this, you know, they can open up on this hinge. There's this base hinge right here, and there's another hinge right here. The thumb doesn't move, but yeah, you got the finger right here is by itself, and then these three fingers are all fused together. But there's a hinge at the base, and then hinge mid knuckle right here. So you got all that, so he can, you know, point if you like. So there's that. Of course, his well, yeah, there's other thing which I almost forgot about his head, which is there's that platform as well, which kind of exposes a gap, but you know, there's that platform if you want to adjust that a little bit. He does have a waist swivel unhindered. He also has an ab crunch, which, yeah, you have this double hinge thing, so he has an ab crunch, which can kind of more or less go about that far forward, and you can also have him go back if you want, although it just kind of opens up that up, but you know, you do have that option. Down here at the hips, you do have, well, these hip skirts on the sides, which get out of the way, and this whole flap on the back gets out of the way a bit as well. So you have that, but you have the hip skirts can ratchet forward pretty much that far, ratchet back that far, ratchet outward that far. Only thing about this outboard, of course, is you have, hey, here's straight, here's the first click, and the problem is, yeah, you got the thing where it's like he's now got a pretty wide-legged stance. I wish there was more, because there's only what, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I wish there was more. I wish it was closer to 8 instead of just 6. There's like 6 rest points. I wish there was 8. That's the funny thing. If there's going to be an upgrade kit for this guy, that's what needs to be upgraded, is number of ratchets in the outward motion of the hips. So yeah, you get this thing where, yeah, you put him down and it's like, oh, he's a little more wide-legged than you probably like. And it has a tendency to kind of, in my opinion, just also starts to bend forward sometimes. But his thighs do have a dedicated swivel right there. He has, of course, a knee bend. Very nice deep knee bend, which is also clicky. Pretty much that far. You also go forward a little bit, which is interesting. And down here at the feet, you do have ankle tilts, which are pretty darn far, 90 degrees of bend right there. And then of course you have a swivel right there, and then there's not really a whole lot. There is, actually there it is. Yeah, I was gonna say, could have sworn, yeah. There's this thing you can pop out so you can get a lot forward and a lot back right there. And the toe and heel can also bend inward if you need that for any reason. So yeah, he's actually got pretty darn good posability. The only thing he's actually lacking compared to, say, MP44 is that insane stuff going on in the waist, but that was kind of insane. That's why, yeah, but yeah, generally, though, that's what I mean, though, is like, unfortunately, the first click outward for his hips are just kind of, he makes him really wide-legged, which makes it, it's a little disappointing to me, honestly, but what can you do? So, of course, accessory-wise, of course, you can open this up right here and then open up this bit, which is a little difficult for me because it's really difficult for me to get my fingers in there, but right there, yeah, we can open up the matrix chamber like that. Display that if you like. Getting the matrix out is also a bit of a pain for me, at least for me. I cannot ever, again, it's really difficult for me to spudger. There we go. Yeah, getting that out. Again, it's that thing of he can kind of hold the matrix. You can also, yeah, of course, open them like that, open the doors like that as well. You can kind of hold the matrix, but yeah, it's that thing of like, you kind of have to do the finger, because of the size of the matrix, you kind of have to do the thing where you have to kind of hook the, hook it on a little bit. And even then, it's not the greatest hold. But you can kind of hold, I'm not going to show because, yeah, too much, but yeah, you can see, you can kind of hold it, but it's not a great hold, just like a lot of these matrices. There isn't really, good finger grip for it. So there is that. As for his other accessories, of course, yeah, it's again, it is the 5mm ports, peg and port system. So you got 5mm peg on the gun, so that can just go right in his hand like so. You can wrap the fingers around the gun, and that works like that. It's pretty straightforward. At least it's a nice long peg, so it goes all the way through the hand, essentially. So you got that. For the axe, or at least the G1 axe, you can, for that, you fold away the hand, and that will bring out the peg right there. You can close this up, and then right here, just peg it over the hand, or peg it over right there. Unfortunately, a little bit of an oversight there. You can see on both arms is the problem, which is there's this tab right here, which is for the truck mode. And unfortunately, when you put this on, this bumps right into that tab. So it's either the axe is on crooked like this, or you kind of only have it partially on, which is very not exactly the most tightest connection. So you kind of have that issue, or you have to like partially unplug this a little bit. It's regardless. It's kind of like it's kind of a whoops oversight. The best thing I think of is probably just you're gonna have to like cut a notch into either side of this just so it can go over just so it can go over that tab. That's the only thing I think of is to really fix it. Either that or shave the tab off, and which the problem is then you might not hold together very well in the truck mode. Or yeah, so either that or cut a notch in here. This thing does rotate, so I was hoping maybe it was like you could get it into the little space there, but no, there's no real way. Unfortunately, that's just how it is. So that's a little disappointing. Getting this back open, hand back out. Yeah, so we got that. And of course, this axe is just like the Siege one, so you have this, opens up right here, clips over right here, this unfolds and kind of clicks into place. And right here, use this notch to, little tab right there to unfold this bit of the blade, and then use this to unfold this part of the blade. And hey, look, now it's the Siege axe, which, yeah, this you can just, again, opening up the hand. Open up the hand. This, of course, you just, plug it in to the hand like that, and you can just hold it. So there's that. And getting these out of the way now. There's that stuff. And of course the arm blades, I'm pegging these from each other. You can see, yeah, there's this hinge right here. You just bend this like this, so it sits like that, and then you just plug it into the bottom part of the hand. And same thing, bend that up and then plug it into the bottom part of the hand. And there you go. Now he's kind of like Bayverse, and he wants you to give him his face. And of course, there's also this piece right here, which is the, again, this is the flight stand adapter, and this just slots over. You can see there's a peg right here. There's that peg hole. You just slot it over right there. And then with that, of course, you can use a masterpiece style stand and just, I'm going to adjust how this sits a little bit. Use a masterpiece style stand and plug them on, and there you go. Now he's, you know, now he's sitting on there. Now he's sitting on the stand. So, as for storage stuff, yeah, you're going to need... Well, actually, not one. There's actually one more thing. This thing right here is also useful for a thing, because they showed off in a lot of the pictures. Hey, look, the gun over the shoulder, but hey, that doesn't work really. I mean, you can kind of maybe do this, but... I mean, yeah, you can kind of do this, maybe, sort of thing like that. You kind of do that, but that kind of limits, you know, kind of the angle. But what you need to do here is on this thing, I'm trying to remember the orientation because this thing is kind of a little confusing. I believe use this peg hole right here, and this thing right here. You plug the gun in right here and do this, rotate it like this, and then you plug this peg into the side right here. Like that. And unfortunately, I have this big old plastic thing sticking out the back, but yeah, from, you know, from certain angles you can have now the, you know, the gun kind of sticking over the gun sticking over the shoulder like that, which I believe is a reference to a prototype idea that was cut from the original Diaclone convoy, battle convoy. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, once again, if you want to store everything, you have to use this this whole thing right here, and again, you just, you know, use the same peg holes you did for the truck mode, essentially, you know, plugging that in, rotating like that, and then you plug this in right here, and this bit right here, this peg goes into the side right here, so those are stored like that, and the blades and the, again, you have to straighten these out, and then you peg these together like that, and then, you know, you peg these to the side on this side right here like that, and of course this can still, you know, fold up and peg it to the side right here as well. So there's your pretty much there's your storage. And of course this thing right here can also store away, although it's going to be kind of obvious. So you can pretty much store everything on the back of him, but yeah, it's just kind of weird, and also, you know, to be careful about, you know, actually how you handle him. So you can, yeah, store that stuff on his back. It works. It's a little weird. You can just kind of tell that it's a little weird, but yeah. So yeah, it all stores like back there, and it's pretty neat. But yeah, it's just kind of this thing is just a little frustrating that this thing has to exist to me. I wish there was a different way of handling things, but I'm also struggling to see how. I guess you can also adjust how these sit, but yeah. Another thing is, yeah, that's another frustrating thing. There's a little plastic weapon bar thing for the upcoming Style Gen Hot Rod as well. So it's like, still doing that, I guess. Okay, sure, I guess. But yeah, other than that, it's actually pretty cool, I think. But as for measurements in this mode, again, his height to the top of his head, and that includes the antenna, is 9 3/4 inches or 14.7 centimeters. So there's that. So comparison stuff right here. Just getting at that. And that's, of course, that's also with the leg stock straight, not flared out like that. Here he is with MP10. Yeah, MP10, which, yeah, again, feels like MP10 here is kind of a lot when it comes to the design. He is heavily, his overall like transformation is heavily based on MP10s. You see, I think he's a smidge taller, but yeah. I feel like his transformation is heavily based on MP10s. There's a lot going on. I mean, at least the top half. The top half is very MP10, whereas the bottom half is kind of its own, kind of more Studio Series Bumblebee movie, which is weird. So there's that. And here he is with my MP44 with the scratched up paint that I still haven't fixed. We have very different look going on there. Again, very cartoon, very stylized, hence style gen. So there is that. So yeah, that is style gen Optimus. He's pretty cool, actually. He's generally pretty cool. I know, maybe I didn't sound too enthusiastic about it. I don't know, but might be because it's getting a little late as I record this. But it's a pretty fun figure, actually. It's a really fun and simple transformation. It kind of harkens back to the olden days. So if you are someone who's been yearning for the older days of the Hasui, very somewhat more stylized masterpiece of like MP10 era and whatnot, you might want to consider looking into this guy. He is very much of that ilk in a way. He's very much of that sort of thing. He very much feels more along kind of classic masterpiece in that regard. If your thing is very much, if you really want, the cartoon accuracy, if you're all in on that, well, you're not going to be finding much value here. He is very much not doing that. Again, his transformation is really fun and simple, at least by masterpiece standards, is really fun and simple. Him switching over from, the tab and slot stuff and whatnot and custom connections to just all 5mm. I almost forgot. One thing I did forget was like the shield right here can also plug into his arm. I keep forgetting stuff like that, So the shield can plug into his arm as a shield like that. Yeah, if your whole thing is cartoon accuracy, you're not going to find much into this. But if you really yearn for those old days, and this toy is kind of for you with those old days of the classic masterpiece stuff. If you're just if you're also been kind of grumbling about how expensive Masterpiece has gotten, well, this guy is also kind of an answer to that. I mean, again, by Masterpiece standards and everything, he's actually fairly cheap. But for me personally, I paid about $170 for him total with shipping. So that's roughly we're going to be paying. Basically, that's kind of in the range is $160 to $180 is your range for this guy. Which, considering it's a Masterpiece Optimus, that's not bad. He's a full-size thing. He's compatible with the MP44 trailer. Yeah, that's the thing. If you have an MP10 or MP10 knockoff trailers, you're going to have to get an adapter, which there's already people offering those, and for fairly cheap. So there's that. Be sure to look into it. But yeah, he's got a fairly simple transformation. He's fun to pose. He's got a lot of posability, a lot more than MP10. That's the thing. If you like MP10 but not MP44, the only thing you wish is MP10 had more modern articulation. This guy does it. So that's a lot. He's also got a lot of little references, all sorts of different Optimus Primes through the years. He's got a decent amount of accessories, and the nice thing is they're a good amount of accessories, but they all store nicely on him in some way. So yeah, he's a good solid figure, and yeah, he's a good solid figure. This is what Style Gen is going to be. I'm in for it. Yeah, even the next Style Gen, which is going to be Hot Rod, which is going to be a bit weird, just because Hot Rod there, it looks like he's just a slightly modified version of Studio Series 86, which is pretty much exactly what he is. It's an interesting one, but yeah, regardless, Style Gen seems like a pretty cool subline, and I'm interested, to say the least, based on this. Don't know where they go from here exactly, but I'm very much interested, and he's good. He's great even. So that's it for this review. I hope you find it informative and entertaining. Hope you like, comment, and subscribe. Check out my social media down in the description and at the end of the video. Check out my Ko-fi and my Patreon. I'll also see you next time with another video review.